Hi, AJ Hartley here, novelist, Shakespeare professor, Atarashii Gakko fan, and I've been a fan of theirs for about 4 years, which is about as long as I've been running this little channel. And as I say, it is a little channel, it doesn't get a huge amount of attention, and from time to time I've considered scrapping it entirely. But, once in a while something cool happens. And this is one of those times. So, a couple of months ago, Atarashii Gakko played at Coachella, and I did a little video review right after the show. And people commented on the video, and one of the people who commented suggested that he had some sort of connection to somebody who was involved in the band. We went back and forth a little bit, and it turns out that it was Mike Ramos Nishita, brother of Money Mike. And in the course of this conversation, email, Mike got in touch with me. We started chatting by email about his involvement with the group. And this is Money Mike of the Beastie Boys, massive figure, and he produced the Snack Time EP plus Hanako and Forever Sisters, which had just debuted at Coachella. And he said I said, I don't suppose you'd be prepared to chat on camera about your work with the group. And he was like, astonishingly, he was like, yes. So it took us a while to schedule it, and I didn't really think it was going to happen. But we did it, and you get to watch. So enjoy. So I want to take a moment first to just say thank you for doing this. It's incredibly generous of you, for somebody of your standing as a multi-instrumentalist, musician, composer, producer. You're a giant in the field of contemporary music, and so to agree to appear on a little channel like this and talk to the fans is really appreciated. And
well, yeah, it's an honor to do this because I really love this band, Atarashii Gakko, and you're a big fan, so here we go.
Yeah. So, you and I first started communicating right after the Coachella gig, which must have felt sort of like a coming full circle for you. We got to, as fans, we got to hear Forever Sisters for the first time, which is off the new album, but is a song that you did with them back in the Snack Time days.
Here we go. We love Money Mark. Thank you so much. Forever Sisters.
So when you did what, 7 songs with them, at least 7 songs that we have heard. So I thought maybe we could start simply by talking about how you came to be involved with them in the first place.
Right. Yeah, there are only 7 songs. It seems like there's more, but there was only 5 on the Snack Time EP, and which was originally supposed to be a full length. But we talked about it, and I thought it was better. Well, we all thought it was better just to have a short and sweet piece of collection of musics for them to make this transition, it was a transition. I got introduced to Atarashii Gakko by a friend of mine, Tamayu Takayama, and she brought me the band. And I didn't really know her very well. And she said she saw me on this Rick Rubin documentary, and I met her once, maybe 5 years ago, and it was just a friend of a friend. And she reached out, and she was helping the band through 88 Rising, the record label. And they were in a kind of a tight spot. They were in a moment of transition themselves, and the big question was, what are their goals? What is the future like for them? And I came in to help fix all of that. I'm kind of like the fixer person. I get called in to do like these fixes.
Well, the fix seems to have worked because and Pineapple Kryptonite, particularly, of course, but the whole EP really obviously changed their sound and their profile, and I think introduced them to the world in ways that wouldn't have happened without that collection. I mean, I think the Coachella performance was sort of the cherry on the cake in some ways, but I don't think any of that would have happened without you and your involvement.
Well, that's gracious of you to say. I think, I had a job to do, and that's how I think of it. I had some some goals there that we discussed, and maybe there was five things to have the band sing more in English
Mhm.
and have more of the band members taking lead roles and
Lead roles
try
in
to get
performance or in composition?
like in the lead vocal part,
Mhm. Right.
and also try to get them out of their, well, getting them out of their uniforms is really not uh, at this point, we think of them in their uniforms, but the uniforms mutated. But in the Pineapple Kryptonite video, which was Tamayu and I helped also create, you know, that song was a moment when everything kind of pivoted. So we kind of achieved all our goals just in that one song.
Yeah.
So that was the first song we made. And after that, it seemed much easier because they got out of their costumes, um, or their uniforms by wearing these costumes of this kind of a family that was on vacation in the desert. And the fans kind of went crazy over that. And they always talk about Rin's beer belly. I see I see that comment a lot. But so we kind of succeeded in all of those goals in just that one song. And then after that it became much easier.
And you were
For
in the
the other
video.
Yeah, for the other four songs it became much easier to make those songs after the Pineapple Kryptonite song.
So that was the first one you worked on.
Right.
And
Exactly. Yes. And the big part of it was that they also need music to have to move to and to create choreography for. And they really can't have a song. I mean, a ballad for Atarashii Gakko. Um, I don't know if that's coming soon, but we all love to see them in their performances and their high energy
yeah.
movements, and all the songs needed to evoke some kind of narrative. Their choreography has stories in it, so we're all kind of proud of that little Snack Time EP.
Yeah, I'll bet. I mean, was the choreography evolving while you were working on the songs, or was that dealt with as a completely separate thing?
Yeah, we talked about the songs as these little narratives that they could latch on to create their choreography.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, the Fantastico song is we talked about this song about making an Italian disco song. They were experimenting with genres at the Snack Time moment,
Mm.
and it was really fun to do that because I got to like pull out all these things out of my hat, my little magic bag of musical things, and we talked about this song that wasn't English or wasn't Spanish, but it was just kind of gibberish. And there's been some songs in history that were just kind of gibberish. I think
Like,
there's an Elton John song that's just kind of gibberish,
well, like the Cocteau
and
Twins.
Cocktail Twins and Sigur Rós too
Mm.
has a whole album, I think, of gibberish. That and then we kind of created this story about they are, so if you watch the choreography, you can see that they're kind of wiping down Suzuka, the other three, and nobody really knows what that is. So here we go. So the in the story, as we were making the song Fantastico, we thought we're going to make this Italian disco song, and they are going to play the characters of these housekeepers who are actually spies, and they're in this house, cleaning this house, gathering information for their whatever, for the spy bureau. And so, yeah, Suzuka rings the doorbell and they go in to clean the house. And, that was kind of the beginning of the whole inception of the song.
So where do these ideas come from? I mean, did you have a lot of this stuff in mind or even drafted or recorded before they arrived for this recording session, or what?
No, absolutely not. There was a blank slate. Even the Pineapple Kryptonite song was, there was a pineapple in my car, and I opened the door. When I met them, I pulled up to
I got one behind me just for you.
The meeting place, and I opened my door and the pineapple fell out. And we brought the pineapple into the studio and set it right in front of the, the mixing console. And we just started having fun, and I think that was the whole point of it. And to this day, Atarashii Gakko, from the beginning, from 9 years ago, they've just been having fun, and growing and having fun and coming of age at the same time. It's really an exciting story.
And so were you running these ideas by the record label and stuff like that as you go, or you just sort of building stuff and then send it and say, here it is, this is what we've done?
Almost every project that I've ever worked on, whether it's a movie score or a TV show or a record, songwriting, there's nobody around me telling me anything. I have no one over my shoulder, and those are the jobs that I take. And if that's part of the that's got to be part of the job description, that nobody's going to kind of interfere. It's more like a seasoned band would do that. It was perfect to have them help me create the music. And that was the other thing. It was also like a teaching moment where they never actually made their music before. And now after this, I think they have a lot more say in, I think A.G. Calling, the new album, I think they had a lot of voice in it. They were working with the producers closer.
So I was fascinated to see how they made that adjustment with you, how the sort of decision-making process worked with them as a group and with you. I mean, was it unanimous all the time? Was it different personalities coming into play? How did that work?
Well, it's only smart people that can pull that off, and they're very intelligent young people, and that's their willingness to learn and grow. It was ripe at that moment, and it still is. They're hopefully that's not ever going to go away. And my curiosity about all things is still intact. I mean, that is what actually is my main engine, my curiosity. At the end of the day, they helped me write the songs, and they got writing credit for the songs that they created. You see their names on there, listed on there as songwriters with my name for the songs that we did.
How much did the songs change through their influence, and in what ways?
The Atarashii Gakko as a band, as you know, they've been making these TikTok videos for many, many, many years. They are masters at doing that. So because of that, they're masters all four of them are masters at editing, and
Oh,
they've never edited songs before. And I would leave the room. It would be, here's our song, here's all of our parts, and we have to assemble this into a 3-minute song. The Snack Time EP is 5 songs at 3 minutes, so it's going to be a 15-minute EP, and it's exactly what it is. It's a 15-minute EP. And so there were times when I would just leave the room, and that was due to the fact that they are actually going to create the dance to this piece of music. So why not help edit the song? Because you're going to make the dance for it, or do the choreography for it. It totally made sense to me. Like I should leave the room for a little while. You guys should discuss like what parts go where and why, and have kind of an arc in the song. And they did a lot of in the end they did a good amount of work with that, putting the songs together, the arrangement of the songs. And then of course the language, the translations.
did you
I would
communicate?
I would write in English, and then I would write the songs in English, or the ideas compiled from what they were saying they wanted to do,
Mm.
and then they would translate some of those into Japanese.
Do you speak Japanese? Were you communicating with them in
No,
Japanese?
I don't speak any Japanese, like
Okay.
skoshi, like chota
So,
language skills.
right,
Yeah,
right,
no.
right.
But I am half, my father's Japanese and my mother's Mexican, and they only knew English to talk to each other. So I only heard English in
Right.
the household.
That's interesting. Do you think your own heritage was a factor in getting you involved in the project or not? No.
Wow, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I do know that when I went to Japan for the first time with the Beastie Boys, I felt something. I knew that my grandparents were from there, from Kyoto, and especially when we were in Kyoto, I felt something. It's hard to explain, but
Yeah.
um, it, that in our brains we have our brains are made up of our ancestors, brains and memories and thoughts and feelings. So who knows? That's a kind of a
Mm.
mystery, and that's kind of cool to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. My son is, my wife is Japanese American, and the first time we took my son to Japan, I think he had a similar kind of experience. Um, so obviously we've talked mostly about Snack Time, but you also recorded Hanako.
怖い怖いあなたに会いたい怖い怖いどこで会えるの扉を開けても暗い暗い見えない姿遊びましょうまあ答えてよいるんでしょ何をしてるの
And they sat on Hanako for like over a year for the Halloween release. I'm really interested to know. I love that song, and I'm really interested to know how the content of it developed because it's so specifically Japanese. So where did that come from?
Well, then this kind of leads off of stems off of the what we were just talking about, because I grew up reading and knowing some of those Japanese children's stories,
Okay.
and they're pretty scary if you really get into it. They're
Yeah.
actually really scary. The one with the long neck that's gonna
Yeah.
go around the corner and scare you. Um, so when they were talking about this, that they wanted to write a song. Well, but going back, I was thinking that let's see. Let's just write a crazy song about a crazy subject, just something you're interested in. And at the Airbnb that they were staying in Studio City in Los Angeles, the toilet there was something wrong with the toilet. Some funky thing was happening with the toilet, and it kind of evoked this idea of Hanako, and we just went with it after that. I think the plumber had to come in actually at the Airbnb and fix the toilet.
How long were
I'm going to
they?
ask them next time I see them. I'm going to ask them about that and kind of refine the story, because now I want to know exactly how it happened.
How long were the sessions for snack time?
For any of the kinds of projects that I do that involve like this idea of kind of transforming a brand or transforming a sound for a band or a singer, and kind of experimenting, going out of the box or going out of the comfort zone. You know, a lot of it is just a lot of the time is consumed just illuminating. So there's kind of like the perception is there's a lot of free time. You're not really getting anything done, but you really are. Like we're discussing ideas, and we're going for a walk, or we're eating some food together, but we're always just talking and jamming on the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And that counts for building the project. That counts for actually the important part of the foundation of the project, getting to know the artist and getting to know their ideas, and then going back and forth with the ideas and refining the ideas. The actual studio time was, if you count those minutes, actually being in front of the computer recording and performing, it wasn't that much actually. Each song, when the idea came, kind of everything came as a flash.
And did you say that the idea to do a fuller project was your idea, that you pushed for that originally they just wanted one song, or how did that go?
Yeah, so I was just commissioned to do one song, and that's why I put all of those ideas into the Pineapple Kryptonite song.
Right.
Because I knew that I was only going to do one song, so they had to speak English, they had to be able to dance to it, they had to get out of their uniforms somewhat, they had to do a little bit of acting to kind of show. It had to be comic, it had to have some comedy and drama, and had to be colorful, and people want to see them, so we had to create something that people can be visually stunning. So it's like, oh, I better just put everything into this one song. And then after that, only after that, they commissioned some more songs after that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And Forever Sisters was in the mix right then?
Well, it's the last song because it was the last song that I created for them, because after I got to know them, I just thought of them as sisters and thought of them as a really, really a uniquely tight group of people, and they're also band members, and they also grew up together in kind of those those years of life that are very challenging, when you're moving from a child to an adult. They are really, really super tight. They know each other very well, and I could not see them other than, being family.
なんて聞いてなかった。ファミリーでもあり、シスターでもあり、フォーエバーシスターズ。フォーエバーシスターズ。ちょっと音ちゃんと。フォーエバーシスターズ。フォーエバーシスターズ。フォーエバーシスターズ。Forever sisters. Say no. We are AG around the world. We are AG around the world. Let's go. Let's go.
Sisters.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yes, forever sisters.
Heart is connecting.
So, the brain is connecting.
Brain and heart is connecting every time.
That's really special.
But
Yes,
very
special.
very different style.
Yeah, of course.
But connecting.
I don't think anybody really knows how they got together in the first place. I assumed they were brought together by the original record label and went from there, because there's a lot of sort of mythology about how they met and things like that.
Yeah, they were dancing together when they were very young, but yeah, even I don't really know the origin story there.
Were you in the original charge that you got from the label? Did it affect sound as well, sort of tonality, instrumentation, things like that? Because obviously their early stuff has a lot of that sort of acid jazz sort of feel. Did you listen to that and then say, okay, here's what we're not going to do? Or what were you charged with, and how did you agree on the direction?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question there. I did a lot of studying on what they had done and where I thought they could go. I mean, a lot of it kind of rested on my shoulders to help create this project, you know. It wasn't that dissimilar to the Beastie Boys Check Your Head album was when I came in to help them make that album in 91, 92. That was it felt the same, you know. We built a studio. We had a little rec. I mean, the studio was this playland, and a lot of time. It took a lot of time to make. It took about a year and a half to make that record. Check Your Head. There was a lot of playfulness and a lot of getting to know each other. It was very much like the same thing. And I knew that we needed this amount of time. And I thought back, well, the Beastie Boys spent their last bit of money on renting this space so that we could build a studio. So, and we chose an Airbnb that was big enough for them to live in, but also had a big room there, or enough room for us to make a studio. And that was the only way it would work, or else it would have been many, many thousands of dollars renting a studio. And, you know, I can hear that clock ticking there and money going down this tube, you know. And that would have been a lot of pressure. So, you know, the house was kind of this playland, and I brought a bunch of musical instruments there. They got to like learn about all the instruments, and it was really fun. It was like music school. I mean, that project is basically a product of this music school. There was even the video. We created this. I don't know what happened to it. We created this little diorama of the set, and we had the little pieces in there. And what then all together we created the storyboard for the Pineapple Kryptonite video. And I really hope that they just, you know, jump off. I know so far that they jumped off of that and have been able to voice their opinion about the videos and the music. And I hope that just continues, you know.
Do you think you'll work with them again?
I don't know. I think, you know, there's always this feeling of maybe I will get called in. You know, they loved everything that we're talking about. And then they just saw that they were Billboard #1. So in Japan, like, wow, that story is pretty incredible.
So, I mean, it's an odd thing, isn't it? Because obviously Atarashii Gakko took off, particularly in Japan, in the last year or so, with the sort of rediscovery of Otonna Buru. But it seems like it was the Pineapple Kryptonite stuff that repositioned them and drew attention to the earlier material as well. And it's interesting because, you know, as you suggest, the sound is really quite different in certain respects, but it obviously sort of launched them not just in the US, which feels like that was a very deliberate agenda, but it also has sort of pushed them considerably higher in Japan as well.
I think they took the roadmap, you know, the kind of the syntax of what we did and applied it to an older song. People need to see them. The songs can be great. Just if you look at the new album, there's some great songs on there. I really love that Superhuman song. Yeah. But there's no video for it. And if you look to see that when they make a video, it goes into the millions instantly. So it really just takes, people have to see them. And the live shows, you know, once you see them at a live show, it's all over. You're a fan for life. So I created this Forever Sisters song as kind of looking to the future, kind of, in a way.
Right. But I think, part of what I like about that is that it has an almost sort of late 70s disco-y kind of vibe to it. There's some, obviously there's a lot of electronica in there, but it's got that sort of Donna Summer, I don't know. There are a number of different 70s bands that I can hear in that guitar sound that we hear occasionally, and that's very melodic. It's very Japanese 70s pop, right? It's very Showa,
Yeah.
which Suzuka obviously particularly likes.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of Sister Sledge and
Right.
Chic with Nile
Yeah.
Rodgers, and put a little Daft Punk in there because Daft Punk, kind of is has some affection for that music too.
Mm.
But that the what they were calling the American experiment, that was the extension of it, because that fits in with the Snack Time EP songs. But and I think it was, I'm not really sure how it ended up on the AG Calling album. It's like kind of the oddball on the whole record, but I'm glad it's there.
It was certainly great to see it live, particularly as well. How did you feel? Yeah, we communicated
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, it felt pretty good, and I was there too. I'll send you my little iPhone video for it. It felt pretty good to see them do that, and as you can see, the choreography is a lot chiller.
Yeah.
And the same with the Beastie Boy kind of performances. I created the instrumental music for them, or with them, and if it hadn't been for those chill instrumental parts in the live show, boy, they wouldn't have been able to sustain a full, hour and a half of jumping around. So, and also that creates the arc for the show, like when you can have something that's chill, and also it's like for the kids, for the TikTok audience, they're not going to be able to perform any of those dances. I've seen their dances are really intense, and I've seen some of the TikTok fans try to recreate the dances, but not often. There's the head movement in Otona Blue, but like a full-on choreography, that's pretty intense to try to attempt that. I've seen a few of their fans do it, but going back to the Forever Sisters choreography, it's nice and chill, and it tells the story, and the cyclorama, or the backdrop, is them going through the city and going through all these different places. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. How did you feel about them performing Intergalactic?
Well, this question goes back to the Pineapple Kryptonite jump off, where they love the Beastie Boys, and they love the Spike
Did you
Jones
introduce
video.
them to the Beastie Boys, or did they already know them?
They knew them, and Tamayu was the one who kind of suggested, but they knew who the Beastie Boys were. And a lot of their fans call them the Beastie Girls, because they kind of resemble this idea of like a really tight-knit band. They're having fun, they're making good music, they have really great references to pop culture. It's like everything, and then they use the same city backdrop in the Tokyo Calling video as they did in the Intergalactic video.
말로 내 아픔을 내밀었어 Gakko story.
They covered the Intergalactic song,
Mm.
and I just guess it was natural for them to try to reach out to me to help them make make this transition for them.
It's terrific.
Yeah, it is terrific. It is terrific. It's like it's a when you love something that much, and when you adore something that much, and then you imitate it. I mean, that's the greatest compliment. And
Right.
when they do, and when you do it well too, that you can get inside the head of the artists that you're kind of trying to imitate, and then you can take it from there and move on to some other place. But there's nothing original in this world. So especially in art and music, and or there's every once in a while there's something that seems really original, but there's nothing original about there's nothing original about the references that Atarashii Gakko uses, even in their dance pieces. We talked about Tony Basil, we talked about Moment Chants, we talked about modern dance, we talked about hip hop dancing, and French hip hop dancing, and African dances, American Native American dances. Like they're knowledgeable about that. So
It's interesting.
it's really cool that they're like fans of everything, and they kind of put it together and kind of make it their own. I guess that's my point. You get something and you love it and you make it your own.
And they each presumably have slightly different interests and focuses and such. Obviously, Ren has a hip hop focus.
Yeah, they each bring something, and it's like kind of a perfect. They're a perfect group right now. They're at their peak, or at some peak, and I can see them doing more. And
Do you think?
I'm excited to see what's going to happen after this. So kind of when you finish a project and it gets going, your brain is always, as an artist, your brain is on to the next thing. So
Right.
I'm in contact with them, and I'm hearing little bits and pieces about what's coming next. But it's all in this formulation stage, and this idea of, like I was talking about before, illuminating on ideas and keeping notes and making sure you have your thoughts together. And anyway, it's exciting to see what's going to happen next. A band like Atarashii Gakko is helping to create this bridge between, these two giant areas of the world. And now they're in Europe. And by the looks of it, like they're selling out these kind of, medium-sized, good medium-sized venues. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And that seems to be.
They've landed there in Europe too.
Yeah. Well, I'll be seeing them on the US leg of this tour. I'll be seeing them in Chicago. They're not playing. Last time I saw them in DC, but I'll see them in Chicago.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Well, I've kept you a long time. I could, I would quite happily just listen to you for hours, but I should let you go. Well, look, this was fantastic.
Cool, man.
I really appreciate you taking the time. Let me turn off the recording.
We love Money Mark. Thank you so much. Forever sisters.
How incredibly cool was that? So there you go. What a gentleman, what a generous, thoughtful presence. I can see exactly why he worked as well as he did with the group. And I'm just really, really grateful to him for sharing his time, completely unbidden. He had no obligation of any kind. And we've been going back and forth since we did the recording, so that he could make sure that everything that was in there was okay. So, this has taken quite a lot of time for him, which he gets no remuneration for at all. So, I just want to say again, thanks. What a great guy. I'm hoping that we get a chance to do some version of this again. At one point, he said, maybe we'll do a part 2. I don't know if that will happen or not, but I hope it does. And that's it. So, as ever, please like, comment, subscribe, express your gratitude to Money Mark, and check out my books. Check out my Patreon page, and as ever, thank you to my patrons who make this channel possible. And that's it. I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.